Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by the Health Services Authority. Caring people, quality service. Visit hsa.ky.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Refill and transfer prescriptions online. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky. Also brought to you by Cayman Medical Center, Cayman's most awarded private medical clinic.
And UHealth, International University of Miami.
World-class healthcare in the heart of Miami.
The Light Room, your holistic sanctuary for physical and mental restoration, repair, and rejuvenation. The power that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Attention HR managers and business leaders. Want to boost productivity, reduce absenteeism, and show your team that their well-being matters? The Lightroom now offers custom corporate memberships designed to enhance energy and mental clarity, reduce stress, and improve overall health, creating a healthier, more focused workforce. Invest in your team's well-being because a thriving team leads to a thriving business. Visit thelightroom.ky to learn more. It's a new era in wellness.
If you or your loved one is facing cancer, only Sylvester will stand firmly by your side at every step, from diagnosis through survivorship, providing you and your family peace of mind and assisting with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center is South Florida's only NCI-designated cancer center and specializes in treating the most complex cancer cases. Your first-class cancer care is just a flight away. Learn more at sylvester.org.
Hello and welcome to For the Health of It. I will be interviewing Isadora Farrell. You may know her as the singing queen of Cayman, but she's here in a different capacity today. She is taking a different path, and it's called Geo Love Healing. So welcome to For the Health of It, Isadora.
Thank you, Tara. I feel so honored to be asked to come on this show and to get this opportunity to see you in person. So it's awesome. Thank you.
The energy in here is full of love. I hope that is coming across on the airwaves. But before we go into any depth, explain to our audience what Geo Love Healing is.
Okay, so Geo Love Healing is a modality that I learned from a gentleman called Oliver Nino, who is described as the spiritual activator. He has a book called The Spiritual Activator, and if you look him up, you'll find him quite easily. And how he describes his healing is a fast-track method towards your goals to release old blockages without having to process all the emotional blocks with your mind. And the reason it really resonated with me is I started my healing journey about 4 years ago. I did everything you can think of. I did somatic work. I did talk therapy, well, mostly to myself, to be honest with you, because it was more self-help. I tried everything, put it that way. And I kept saying, God, there's got to be a faster way. Like, this seems so sludgy, so slow. Mm-hmm. And then I came across his work, and it wasn't because I thought it would work per se. It was more that I was curious, and I thought, well, maybe it came across because I've been asking questions about how to heal faster. So that's what brought me there.
Thank you. And I know some people might think of this as woo-woo, as far out there, but I've done it with Isadora. I'm going to call myself forward with it. And the heaviness has lifted. I am also a Reiki healer, so I do believe in energy outside of us healing. So how does it work?
How does it work? Okay, well, you've basically said it. It's energy. We are all energy. And all I'm doing is I'm a facilitator. So we set an intention. We say how whatever intention you have, whether it's for physical healing or spiritual healing, or whether it's for relationships to be better or abundance blocks to be removed. You set the intention and I just facilitate the intention. But I'm still not in control of what is actually happening. It's more your choice. Are you willing to let go of things that you should let go of? Are you willing to open yourself up to what you're ready for? So I'm only a small part of it, really. But it is all energy. The entire thing is energy. Because as you know, with the healing I did on you, it was virtual. We were not in the same room.
No.
And when I first did my first virtual one, I was blown away. Because if you had told me 2 years ago, oh, Isadora, you're going to be an energy healer, I would have probably laughed at you. Or even not laughed at you, I would have laughed away from you, because I would have been like, really? Like energy healer? That sounds so woo-woo. And it does. It really does sound very woo-woo. But, if you think about it, anything energetic is already related to science. I mean, you've had people on your show like Mirabelle, for example, right? And she does co-meditation. It's the same thing about that coherence with your heart and your mind. It's no different. I actually think it's no different to any prayer. When you really fervently pray for something, I think there's a similarity.
That is beautifully said. I mean, I think that's energy. You're sending it out to your higher power, whether what that is, and it returns.
Yes.
And, the Light Room offers something similar. Gary Montemayor, he's a doctor of energy again. And if you look it up, when you look at oils and music, the meditation music, that's all at an energy, different frequencies.
Different frequencies, that's right.
So are you willing to let go of generational curses, of your scarcity context?
Mm-hmm.
These are things that I'm hearing you say that you're able to do.
Yes. I'm able to facilitate. I wouldn't really, as I say, I keep saying I'm a facilitator because the person has to be committed. They really have to be, I am done with this. I am no longer willing to suffer. I say, are you married to your suffering? Because some people are married to their suffering. They love to talk about it because that's their reality. And it's not, I sound quite judgy when I say it, but I guess what I'm trying to say really is I don't want to spend or waste my energy on people who really don't want change, because it does take a lot to make this commitment. It's not for everyone. It's really not for everyone.
And when people, this modality, this is a healing journey. This is a process, right?
Yes.
And you are a facilitator, a guide through the process, or one of the many that someone may reach.
Yeah.
But the first thing is to acknowledge that you want to change, right? And if you're married to your suffering, because that's all you know. If you were brought up in an abusive relationship, right? And that's your traumatic background. Yeah. How are you able to let that go? Are you willing to do it for your children, if not for yourself? Because do you want them to be married to suffering? Your suffering?
Yeah. So
this is but one step that helps you to get there. And talk therapy is one step.
Yeah, I think they all have their part.
But this is a different, more spiritual?
I would call it more spiritual. Well, I don't even think you have to even be spiritual to be impacted by it, because I had one gentleman who really only wanted his health to improve, and so said, so done. So I think you can set any intention you want for your highest good. So it doesn't just have to be spiritual. I came into it wanting spiritual change. For me, that was really important. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, I'll just do this. I'll do it for myself. If I can heal myself, and if I can maybe even reach out to my friends or family, that's great. But I found it so powerful, I almost thought it would be actually quite rude of me to keep this to myself when there are so many people who want and desire and deserve healing. There's something that Bashar says, if you have something to offer, there is someone who needs to receive. And I think that's literally it. I have something to offer, just like how Oliver Nino had something to offer. I got that offering from him. I learned something. And I would really love to see Cayman healed, if I could start with that. You know, you start with your area.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I look back on the unhealed version of me and the choices I made and the things I did, it's interesting. I don't look back in shame or anything. I'm like, oh, well, that was why I did that. Because I didn't know any better. I had absolutely no clue. And all of these belief systems are stuck in our bodies.
Yeah.
You know, we are not even consciously aware of half of the things.
No, it's true. It's, you know, we make choices because of past traumas, of protectionism, choices that we saw our parents make or our grandparents make.
Mm-hmm.
And the world has revolved.
Yeah.
And we make these at a subconscious level, not even like aware that we are, you know, the causations too. So we become a prisoner of our own existence. So what was the switch? When did you say, ooh?
You know, that's a tough one because there was such a buildup of my desire to heal, you know, I really want to thank all the people, and I don't want to name everyone because I'll end up missing out someone and feel awful. But there have been so many people that have been an integral part of my healing. And sometimes when I'm doing my little videos in the sea, I'll thank and I'll remember someone from. But it's so vast and so many people. But it came from introspection. Like, why is this happening? I never really used to ask before why it was happening. I just was, well, it's happening. Well, let me just get on with it. And my mother is very much a don't cry over spilt milk person. So I really learned to just be brave, wipe your tears away, and just get on with it. But then I realized when I'm doing that, or when I finally realized what I was doing, is I'm not allowing my body to process it. It's stuck in my body now. It's going to come out as pain and disease at some point. And so I remember when Oliver Nino gave his first talk on the healing, the one weekend that I had spent an entire Saturday of 9 hours on healing. I could never believe I even did that. But he was talking about when we come into this world, we are absolutely perfect. There's not a thing wrong with us. There's nobody who looks at a baby and says, oh, look at that ugly baby. Look at that horrible child. No healthy person does that. Everyone's cooing over the baby. They want the baby to be happy. They'll do anything to make the baby laugh, you know? So we came in absolutely perfect, and we deserve that attention. However, parents have their issues, caregivers have their issues, teachers, friends, whatever. And then all of these belief systems start impacting us. Yeah. And we forget the valuable person that we are, the valuable soul that we are, because all these other beliefs are impacting us. Oh, well, they didn't pay attention to me, so I guess I'm not worth paying attention to. It creates a belief system. It's not purposeful. It's simply circumstantial, right? But there's, as you say, also there's ancestral stuff that comes along the way, things that we have actually inherited that were not ours to carry in the first place. And now we're burdened. And now our little backpack is full of stuff. And we're getting hunched over.
Yep.
And life is getting more and more difficult. But if those traumas were actually processed, oh, this is not about me. This is nothing to do with me. This is an ancestral thing. If we were able to process those, we wouldn't feel the way we do. So some of this work is literally cleaning up all of that from the energy body.
Yeah.
It's a cleanup. I think that's the only way that I can say it. It's a big cleanup.
Going back to what you said earlier about letting go of the thought processes, and if we don't, it becomes stuck in our body. What have you noticed about your, I'm going to use soul now then, or your body? How does it feel now that you're not carrying all that excess stuff?
I actually feel like a completely different person, I have to say. I mean, if I compare myself to a couple of years ago, and as I said, I'm not just giving credit to this work. This work has brought me to desire to be a healer, but there have been so many people who have poured into me over the last couple of years, and that has helped me to move on in my journey and release things. But this work with Oliver Nino, I remember the first weekend I signed up for it. As I said, it was a 9-hour event, and I thought, what am I doing? Like, how can I spend 9 hours on this? This is crazy. And when he did the actual healing, I fell into a deep sleep, and I was so disappointed because, like, all the other people had visions and they saw colors and da-da-da-da. But the thing is, probably knowing my mind, because I would have had to rationalize it in some way, I think my body had to just shut down so that I could just allow the cleanup to happen. Otherwise, I'd be like, ooh, that's happening. Oh, that's going, ooh, what's going on? You know, and I think, especially as I was very new to energy healing, I think I would have been overawed by all the things that I might have experienced. Plus, I think my gifting for me is I'm a big feeler. I feel a lot more than I see. And most of the students in my little, very small group, we are our accountability partners, they all get to see and I get to feel. And I was like, oh, this is not fair. They're seeing these wonderful visions. And then I got to embrace my gift because I'm such a deep feeler. When I was doing an energy clearing on them, they're like, oh my gosh, you're such a powerful healer. And I'm like, I am? They're like, I felt that. I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe feeling actually has its uses. And comparison is the thief of joy, right? You know,
Right.
If you're going to compare yourself to other people, which I was, because I felt very out of my depth in this world of energy healing and meeting these really talented people, I felt really out of it. And I just thought, maybe I'm not going to do it. Maybe I'll just do it for myself. And then if I'm able to heal myself and maybe a few friends, if they're really in dire straits, then it's good. When I realized how powerful, I was like, nah, I've got to share this. I've got to share this. You know, there's going to be somebody who needs this particular modality of healing. I think that's what makes us also incredibly unique. We need everybody's gifting to be brought to the table. Everyone has their value.
That's beautifully expressed, because someone might hear you and say, yep, Isadora's for me. And then someone might hear Gary or someone else.
Exactly.
You know, the person who's seeing. The universe kind of chooses the person for you.
Yeah.
What would you want someone right now who's listening to this to hear?
I would want them to hear that healing is not linear, that it's very personal to you, and to have the courage to desire the change enough.
Yes, because it is different.
Oh, it takes courage, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
some people can't even drive by the gas station without wanting to pick up what they normally do. All right. So how do you break those patterns?
That's probably the hardest part, I have to say. And once again, I'm going to give some credit to someone who has helped me on my healing journey. Mirabelle introduced me to an excellent doctor in India called Dr. Sumit. And I started my Ayurvedic protocol with him, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done. Ever. It's the hardest choices I've had to make, because I've had to be up at certain hours of the morning and create certain concoctions, and it was all for my health. Mm-hmm. I wanted my health back so badly, I was willing to do anything. But that taught me that I could do whatever I wanted to do if I really wanted to. Before I would have been like, that was too hard. Oh, I can't do that. It's so antisocial. I'm not eating at the time that other people are. I'm not doing this. And it would have been, I have to, adhere to the norms. I think that really broke me out enough to say, you know what? I don't have to adhere to the norms. I have to do what is healthy for me. And I can't do that unless I'm in tune with myself, right? I have to be so in tune with myself that I know what's right. And this particular program helped hone in my intuition, which I had for years and ignored because I would just be following the social norms. Oh, no. But my intuition would always be, oh, no. And then I'd be like later, I made the wrong decision. I should have listened. I heard it. I heard my intuition kicking in, and I didn't follow it. So now I feel that I'm living far more intuitively, and it's very freeing because I have a lot less regrets.
Wow. How does it differ, say, than Reiki?
Now that's
or chakra?
That's an excellent question for which I have to look at my notes. I'll tell you why. Because firstly, I have had Reiki done on me by a friend of mine who is, she does Reiki. But I don't really know the principles of how Reiki works. I'm going to assume, and you can correct me because you do actually do Reiki. Reiki is focused mostly on the chakras and the balancing aspect, is what I gathered from my friend. But this is a bit more because I'm actually cleaning out the chakras and then I am spinning them in the same direction. So it's not just balancing, it's actually getting them to activate as well. So I'm not familiar with Reiki, I'll be honest with you. I'm not really familiar with chakra balancing. I would assume chakra balancing is the same concept. I'm not too sure about that. But I do know that when I had the Reiki session with my friend, and this was before I actually started studying with Oliver Nino, I had done one healing, but I hadn't really gotten any further. She talked about the ear chakras and the knee chakras. And I was like, there's chakras in the knees, there's chakras in the ears. I was like a little amazed. But for me in particular, those ear chakras are probably the most important thing because I have always had ear infections as a child. I definitely believe that I was able to hear more through my intuition as a child, but I shut it down because it didn't feel like what other normal people were doing. And I wanted to just conform as best I could. So I really needed to hear about those ear chakras, and I hadn't heard anyone else talk about them. So, yeah.
So what?
Sorry, I don't know if I actually answered it.
Yeah, you did.
So.
Yeah. What kind of physical, emotional, and spiritual changes can Geo Love Healing help address?
Well, once again, that is all on the person. Whatever they are ready and willing to let go of or receive. I always say, would you like a Jumanji style healing or do you want something softer? And some people say, hey, be gentle with me. And so I'm a lot more gentle with them because that's what they really want. And some people are like, hey, bring it on. I really want change. I am ready for change. And I'm like, well, I hope you are because you're going to feel pretty different after this. And so everyone is different with their intention.
So what would it look like, and what are the signs that?
Oh well, some of the physical things that can happen. I didn't really have that experience. Oh no, actually, I did have one experience with that myself. You may purge a few days, or even the day after the healing. You may find that you're going to the bathroom a lot more, or you have a running belly, or you have a headache. You just need to drink more water and to just rest, like really rest, because basically your energetic body is now cleaned up and decluttered. And your physical body is trying to catch up with that because the energy body is way ahead of the game. So on the physical aspect, that is something you could expect. And I remember having a energy clearing done on my stomach when I had some stomach issues. And it was actually one of my fellow colleagues. And he did such a powerful healing. And I just purged for like 2 days after that. Now, it's not the most comfortable thing, but at the same time, don't you want to literally get rid of the... Yeah, you want to let it go. If it's not serving you, if it's not helping you, if it's blocking you, then yeah.
So this is a major on blocking.
Yeah, I definitely experienced a major on blocking.
Is it safe for everyone?
So now that one, I believe it is safe for anyone with their intention. Because as I said, if you're going to do Jumanji, you're going to experience Jumanji, right?
And what is Jumanji? Large, right?
Big.
Gargantuan.
Yeah, you can't even miss it, basically. I think the key here is I cannot do the energy healing without permission. So if you don't give me permission, I can't do it.
Yeah.
In my personal view, I think with the elderly and with children, we just need to just tread a little bit more lightly and be a little softer because we don't know what their bodies can take on. But permission is the most important part of this entire process.
I mean, you can't close your eyes, put your hands up to your temples and say, I want Tara to heal. I want Tara to heal.
Yeah.
I have to invite you in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it is your intention. I'm going on your intention. I'm not putting mine on you. Well, I think that Tara would be so much better if this happened. The second I even consider that, my ego has stepped in and I cannot heal you, even if I want to, because I'm no longer coming from that place of pure love. Yeah.
I know that, again, we go back to the woo-woo.
Yeah, it's so woo sometimes.
What would you say to someone who's skeptical and listening?
Okay, let me see. What would I say? I would say, if you want change badly enough, you will be open to trying. Because that's really what happened with me. I saw this ad come across Facebook. It was not the most glamorous ad. Oliver Nino came on. He just kind of opened a door and said, hey, da-da-da-da-da. And he didn't even look like he had brushed his hair. So there was no glamour in this video. but there was authenticity. And that was what I was looking for. I wanted authenticity. And that's what made me curious enough. And I think that's really what I like about the programs that he and his wife do. Authenticity is the foundation.
And you're a very authentic person.
I love authenticity. I much prefer it.
So if someone is feeling disconnected, anxious, overwhelmed from our modern day living, what advice would you give them on starting their healing journey?
I would say go slowly. There's no rush. I mean, when I look at how my healing journey began maybe four or so years ago, I'd say maybe 5 years ago, the curiosity. If you're willing to be open, it can go a lot faster. But start slowly. Start with something that you feel totally comfortable with. This is not about bringing every fear into the room. This is about overcoming maybe the small fears, then the bigger ones. Go at your pace is really, I think, what I would say. It's hard because I have felt those feelings, the disconnected, the anxious, the overwhelmed. I felt all of those feelings at some point. And I remember thinking, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
And I think because I really was searching, I think it just comes back to seek and you will find. How willing are you? It comes back on you. I think everything comes back on the accountability, the responsibility lies completely with you. It's not with another person. It's not with circumstances. It's not with any of that stuff. It's all on you. You get to choose. You get to say how you want your life to be.
And like I said, I've done it with Isadora. And, since my dad died in December, I've been, there are days when I'm in a lot of pain. I wouldn't say that I live in pain, but this has helped with the letting go of an acceptance. It's more acceptance because I think I was living in the world where I thought I accepted everything, but there's always a bit of denial there. And I realized that that's what I was, needing more of. And it wasn't just his death. It was the different ways, the different things and all that shows up. So I'm really grateful for God leading me to you. And it was through your Facebook singing ads in the water because I'm a water baby. Something prompted me. So it's the same thing as you said, you are a little bit more glamorous. Your hair is combed and you have these magnificent sunglasses and a color for every day that you go to the beach.
I do. I love my color every day. It makes me realize which day we're on.
And again, it's the universe directing, you are my healer for this moment in time. Like you say, many people pour into you. Like so many people have poured into me. Yeah. So how can people reach out to you?
Well, you can call me on 326-2662. I'm just awaiting the official part of my trade and business license. I'm pretty sure by the time you've aired this that it's going to be in place. So I'm very excited about that. And I will have an email and a website at some point, but I'm just at the beginning of my fabulous healing journey, and it's very exciting. And I want to thank you for allowing me the privilege to serve you at that high level. I'll tell you why, because not only were you open and willing, but when we heal people, there's a bonus. We get to heal as well. And I think that's honestly for every healer, whether they've realized it or not. When we heal somebody else, we get to heal too. It's deep stuff.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I get that with coaching. The issues that we are facing, we get to, when we're coaching someone, it's like we're healing too.
Yes.
So it's all about awareness.
Everyone's a winner.
Well, you've been listening to me interview Isadora Farrell, and we've been talking about
love, healing, sacred geometry combined with the wonderful vibration of love.
Thank you so much for being on For the Health of It. We are moving you to the life you want.
Attention HR managers and business leaders. Want to boost productivity, reduce absenteeism, and show your team that their well-being matters? The Lightroom now offers custom corporate memberships designed to enhance energy and mental clarity, reduce stress, and improve overall health, creating a healthier, more focused workforce. Invest in your team's well-being because a thriving team leads to a thriving business. Visit thelightroom.ky to learn more. It's a new era in wellness.
There's nothing more important than your health, and seeking expert healthcare with physicians you can trust is what you deserve. UHealth, the University of Miami Health System, offers peace of mind to you and your family with a first-class experience. Our patient coordinators assist with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. As South Florida's only academic-based health system, UHealth offers cutting-edge treatment, compassionate care, and life-changing results just a flight away. Learn more at umiamihealth.org/international.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush. Brought to you by the Health Services Authority. Caring people, quality service. Visit hsa.ky.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Refill and transfer prescriptions online. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky. Also brought to you by Cayman Medical Center, Cayman's most awarded private medical clinic.
And UHealth, International University of Miami.
World-class healthcare in the heart of Miami.
The Lightroom, your holistic sanctuary for physical and mental restoration, repair, and rejuvenation. The power that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Yesterday,
Today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Did you know? The Cayman Islands now has a Seafarers Registry, a searchable national database that contains various forms of information about native-born seafarers and their contributions to our rich maritime history. This groundbreaking initiative is the only public resource dedicated exclusively to documenting and archiving the remarkable journeys and achievements of Caymanian seamen. The official launch for this database is Wednesday, June 25th in Grand Cayman and Wednesday, July 10th in Cayman Brac.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the